Welcome back to the Support Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. How can you protect your home from excess moisture, from mold and mildew, and from bugs? Well, easy. Pick up a phone or get on your internet there and go to southeasttermite.com. These guys can really help you. Ask them about their pest control services, which I've used forever, and ask them about their crawl space encapsulation services. Nobody in East Tennessee does it better. You can visit their website to learn more about everything they offer. Been in business for 50 years, and again, I'm a believer. I can't say enough good things about them. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. All right, let's welcome in the last member of today's panel. Well, I'll do that in a second. Just sit over there and wait. Here we go, the playoff contenders. Power 5 unbeaten. You got Georgia, you got Michigan and Ohio State, but they're going to play each other. And then you got TCU, who's got a game with Texas coming up this week, and they would still have a Big 12 championship game in front of them. Power 5 one-loss teams. Clemson lost to Notre Dame last night. North Carolina is awaiting them in the ACC championship game if it ended today. Ole Miss still hanging out there. They don't control their own destiny in the West, but Tennessee should be pulling for Alabama this week to knock off Lane Kiffin just to clear the decks. Oregon, Tennessee, UCLA and USC both won last night, so they're both 8-1 there. I didn't sit up till 3 o'clock to correct the graphic. And then the group of 5 teams, they're not getting in, but I'm thorough. So there you go. So I now welcome in Chuck Cavaleris as we look at that list. Chuck, longtime sports writer in this town, longtime member of this panel. Thank you for being here. How much damage was done to Tennessee's playoff hopes last night?
Well, I mean, it was a game that I thought Georgia really had to win. I still think Tennessee could afford that loss. I think you can make up for that. How much love does the committee give to TCU? I think that's the question. Does Tennessee drop to, I think you're going to be 5th. You don't want to be past that. Obviously, you'd love to be in top 4, but the unbeatens will be there. You mentioned, Ole Miss, being a fan of Ole Miss. I think you're a fan of Georgia now. You want Georgia to keep winning. You don't want Georgia to get to the SEC title game and lose whoever they play. Because now, at the most, you're going to get 2 SEC teams, right? So, yeah, your hopes got hurt going from number 1. At least you were up there. But I think you went out. You're 11-1. I think you're going to play Georgia again in Atlanta.
In the Peach Bowl, which would be the 1 versus 4 game.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if the committee would put them immediately 1-4. Would they move Tennessee to 3 so it wouldn't be an immediate rematch? They could also say we don't want a rematch in the championship game. Who knows?
Tennessee would be in favor of that.
Yeah, that's right. Put them away.
Yeah.
I would almost argue their chances are just as good today as they were yesterday, even with the loss. You don't control your own destiny, but you look at what this committee looked at the resume and said Tennessee's resume is number 1. It's better than anyone else's. Okay, so now you add a loss on the road to the number 1 team. I don't think that hurts you in any way, and I think that when you get here at the end, it's going to be hard for the Ohio State-Michigan loser, which doesn't have your resume, to get in there, barring, Bob, we were talking earlier, some sort of controversial close.
When that game comes around, pull hard for one or the other to win big.
Right.
Don't have it come down to 30 seconds to go and it's a 3-point game and they go into overtime, because then it's going to be hard to split that out. So I think barring that, Tennessee, I like their chances a lot, but the Ohio State-Michigan thing worries me. They're going to have the same argument, potentially, that you're going to have here in the SEC. I didn't go to the championship game, but I only lost to the team that won the championship.
Yeah, if the home team wins a close one, and the road team's like, well, we were on the road and we were competitive against the playoff team.
Those are the ones that worry me more. I think TCU, they're going to trip up before it's over.
Yeah, they got Texas and Baylor.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance they'll trip up.
And then
I
a Big
think
12
one loss
championship
to
game
them and
if
they're
they
done.
get through those 2.
Right.
Correct.
Right. But that's where the love's going to go next, is TCU.
But it should right now.
Right.
That's fine.
Right. And they've had 4 really, to me, impressive comebacks in the second half.
Well, and they beat 4 ranked teams. They can make the same argument that you were making.
At 7 o'clock, I really didn't like Tennessee's chances. And then at 11 o'clock, it's like, hey.
Set the clock back.
Yeah, that's right. So you got Alabama losing, which you needed. You got Notre Dame beating Clemson. You needed that.
Convincingly.
I think Tennessee's going to be 5th.
Now,
When the next one comes out, I think they'll be 5th. If they take care of business, we mentioned the Michigan, Ohio State. If TCU loses, that would be another chip. I think Tennessee's in pretty good shape. I think if Tennessee wins out, they will make the college football.
Yeah, 11-1.
I do too. I mean, look at it right now. Let's assume they're going to win out. Don't we think Georgia's going to win out?
Yes.
All right. and then you're going to have the Ohio State Michigan winner. Well, they're probably going. Well, that team's going to be undefeated. More than likely, going to go beat Illinois in the championship game. So that's 2. Then you've got this mix of, is TCU undefeated? Let's say they are. Let's give TCU undefeated. That's 3. So for that 4th slot, you got 1 loss Tennessee. You've got Clemson. You got a better resume.
Yep.
You've got Oregon. Let's say Oregon continues to throttle everybody, and they kick tail in the Pac-12 championship game. They lost bigger to Georgia than you did, but they could make the case that was the season opener.
Right.
Look how good we've got. You guys lost to them in November. I wonder how the committee would look at that. Oregon would be a team I would have my eye on if I'm Tennessee right now. Could they, even though Georgia beat them worse, it was so far back in the season, could that be one that they would recover from and penalize Tennessee because they lost in November? I don't know that they would.
Well, to paraphrase Al Davis, when you're looking at all this stuff, just lose, baby. I mean, that's what everybody that Tennessee's got out there, with the exception of Georgia.
Here's a squirrely one for you.
I'm a Georgia fan the rest of the way.
Yeah. What if LSU wins the SEC? The SEC champion beats Georgia, which was undefeated. Well,
Then
it
you
looks
go
like
for-
Georgia's going to go.
That's the wild
Yeah.
card.
Are you going to
That's what you
take?
don't want. That's why you're a Georgia fan. You want Georgia to keep winning.
But LSU's got 2 losses and you
Georgia
beat
to
them.
beat them.
Let's say,
Yeah, or Ole Miss.
LSU
Or Ole Miss
loses
either
somebody
one.
and Ole Miss
Yeah.
gets in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
then
I
you're
mean,
then you're done. I
Right.
think. I don't think they're taking 3.
No, I don't either.
Here's my other question for you. I don't know that we've seen it. I need to look this up. I didn't. I apologize. I don't think we've seen it though. We've seen 2 teams from the same conference. Have we seen 2 teams from the same division yet?
I don't think so.
I wonder if the committee would look at that. in
None of
any
the
way.
Alabama
playoff, right?
and LSU.
BCS.
That's what I mean. The playoffs. Yeah.
Alabama and LSU, no.
They didn't both make the playoff.
Right.
Yeah.
17 when Alabama made it after losing to Auburn, it was Georgia beating 2-loss Auburn in the SEC title game to allow Bama back in.
Right, so you had 2 teams from the same
East and
conference,
West, yeah.
but they were from different divisions who didn't play in the regular season. That's another, I'm just always look for what could go wrong. That's how I
Another
live my
fly in
life.
the ointment, as they like to say.
But I agree with these guys. I think Tennessee's in good shape right now, remarkably good shape.
They got a lot of help
consider-
last night.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, at worst, let's say you drop another game or somebody jumps you. At worst, I don't see them dropping below the Sugar Bowl.
I agree.
Right.
I think New Orleans, Ole Miss was there last year. Alabama's been a million times. LSU's been a million times. Tennessee hasn't been in 30 years. I think New Orleans and the visitor center and the Sugar Bowl committee would want Tennessee immediately.
And it's like we're-
you're big with the bowl ties.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Absolutely.
It's
And
like we were trying to tell
Tennessee's
people
gonna
on
sell a ton of tickets.
yeah, social media last night. When the season started, would you take 8-1 sitting here right now?
Oh, goodness. Well,
Come
I mean,
on.
here's another way to look at the timing of things. If the schedule was the way it used to be and you played Georgia to open your season, let's say Georgia was your first game. You lost to Georgia. Exact same score, exact same game. And then you have the exact same games against Florida,
Right.
Alabama, LSU. We're looking at today through a totally different lens. I mean, it's the same results, just shuffle it. And now you're feeling like, oh, we got past Georgia and we're on a roll instead of, well, lost to Georgia.
And they hadn't lost in Athens since the Josh Dobbs Hail Mary, correct? Think about that.
Don't know about that.
2016. That's what I looked. That's what I saw.
Well, then I trust Chuck.
All right. That's right. That's a gambler stat for you.
Not really. Okay. When we come back, as bizarre as it sounds, is Josh Heupel's offense a front-running offense? We'll discuss that, explain that next. Going back on the Sports.